Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the opportunities and challenges of the Brazilian biogas market this morning. My name is Ryan Hart. I'll be your moderator this morning for the webinar. I am the Renewable Energy Analyst at BiogasWorld. BiogasWorld is a commercial platform facilitating the connection and growth of the biogas industry. This morning, we have several presentations from our experts of the market. We have first presentation will be from Nicolas Berhorst of CIBiogás, followed by Guilherme Galhardo from AB Energy, Sean Casey from Bauer Compressors, and Sérgio Cruz from Paques. So we'll start with Nicolas Berhorst this morning.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for the introduction and thank you for having me here. I'm glad to participate with colleagues, Mr. Casey, Mr. Cruz, and Mr. Galhardo. Can you please confirm you see my full screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see if I can put my video on. Sure. Okay. Well, let's go without video then. So everyone, I'm happy to be here. I'll be opening up this conference with this presentation about opportunities and challenges in the Brazilian biogas market. I'd like to thank BiogasWorld for the invitation and also the indication of our CTO, Felipe Marques, for the opportunity of being here with you. So my presentation is divided in main 4 points. The first one of them is the Brazilian biogas market. Second, strategic key points, and then some output of key challenges and opportunities that I have drawn for presenting here as main key points. And later on, I will present and briefly how CIBiogás may support new ventures in Brazil. So first of all, let's take a look at the electric matrix of the Brazilian market. As you can see, we run really high on renewables. This picture was taken from the operator yesterday. And at the time, around 14 o'clock, it was running on 74% hydro, 13% wind, 4.5 solar, and almost 6% thermal. Keep in mind that this thermal share is largely biomass from sugarcane industry. So we have a very remote, we had yesterday a very remote picture of coal and fossil natural gas. And now a broader picture looking at the energy matrix as a whole. Where does it come from and where does it go? This Sankey diagram, we see the oil products and derivatives fueling mainly the transport sector. Remember, we have very little railroads to the size of our country, and biofuels and waste, mainly thermal energy from sugarcane, thermal electric plants, and ethanol filling up the industry and transport, and electricity filling up houses and commercial, and also part of industry. So the main point here is we are already very high on renewables, and transport sector is the main key point for decarbonization in Brazil. And how does biogas fits into all of this? So now these are some pictures of the biogas outlook that CIBiogás has produced, and also it's available at the BiogasWorld website. Last year, 2022, in comparison to 21, we've seen a growth of 15% of new plants and a growth of 22% of biogas volume. Where are these plants mostly concentrated? they are mostly concentrated where Brazil produces its protein, south, center east, and center west. On this slide, I'd like to show some profile of those plants. Please check on the slide on the right, the green one. The first bar, the dark green bar, shows the quantity of plants, and the lighter green shows the volume of biogas produced. So looking on opposite sides, on one hand, we have agriculture, which represents 78, almost 80% of all the quantity of plants in Brazil, but counts up to only 10% of the total of biogas produced in volume. And on the other end, we have sanitation, mainly municipal solid waste and wastewater treatment plants, which counts to only 10% of the quantity of plants, but roughly 3/4 of the whole volume of biogas produced in Brazil. And in the middle, we have industry. And I would like to highlight this sector here. This is where CIBiogás believes that we will see the most accelerated growth in Brazil, mainly on food and beverages companies and sugar ethanol industry, where we use sugarcane crops to produce biofuels and sugar, and other plants like slaughterhouses or other plants or enterprises that produce organic residue. So this middle here, 12% of quantity and 16% of volume, we expect to see accelerated growth, both on quantity and both on volumes, due mainly to the type of stakeholder. And as I said, this Brazilian biogas outlook is available at BiogasWorld platform. So if you're interested, please check it out. Well, next here, I bring some strategic importance to the biogas chain in Brazil. And when I talk biogas, listen, the whole derivatives, biomethane, hydrogen, methanol, airplane fuel, hydrocarbon, fertilizer, etc. And these are some main key points. When we talk about biogas chain in Brazil, we're talking about portfolio diversification, new income, new exports, competitivity, dispatchable energy, energy security. Sometimes in Brazil, we suffer from drainage, from lack of rains, and we suffer from power shortages. Paris Agreement targets methane emissions. Mainly, we have a specific public policy for methane emissions. And also keep in mind, we are the... Oh, now my video is back. Hello, everyone. So keep in mind, Brazil is one of the largest protein producers in the world. So methane emissions from this sector is something very important to be taken account of. We're also talking about import substitution and price fluctuations due to international market. We import almost 100% of our phosphate fertilizers, and we also have an important share of imports from Bolivia of natural gas and also liquefied natural gas. As you saw on the Sankey slide, we're also talking about decarbonization of the transport sector due to the lack of train railroads. So pretty much our output is exported in duty heavy trucks, and international collaboration and direct international investment, which is really important for our development here. So working on the biogas chain, we also helping other countries to become greener, because we export food, and we are the largest protein exporter in the world. Now, to talk about opportunities and challenges, the rationale I chose was to pick 9 technological innovation system functions from the multi-level perspective, and to highlight some important keywords and important information for each one of them. Now, the first and most important one, entrepreneurial activity, we see as opportunity the quantity and size of new entrants. This has been very frequent on the news and on the talks on conferences, and turnkey suppliers. So suppliers of turnkey plants, which deal with the whole technical part for the property, also are opportunities in Brazil. And as challenges, the return on investment on small scale plants, turnkey suppliers for small and medium plants, and the cost of logistics, mainly to bring the substrates close to the consumption. As you can imagine, since largest part of our production is protein, it's not close to urban centers, which is not close to infrastructure. So the cost of logistics are mostly hinder the feasibility of some projects, mainly for small and medium companies, which is also a bottleneck. Knowledge development, there is a rising awareness also on C-level that the whole chain of biogas is important. This is also an opportunity. It's already really high on this. R&D resources, we have ample resources for this, and specialization courses are more and more frequent. Challenges, information asymmetry and business decisions making for small and medium companies due to the number of participants one needs to talk to, one needs to deal with in order to have a successful project. So this also hinders the decision, mainly for plants that do not have a very big management team in order to do budgeting and comparisons. Pricing, performance, function, technology, supply, high level of players, and high quality of operation and management and reliable output. This is something that Brazil has already developed and is seen as an opportunity, and challenges are macroeconomics, as I see. Depreciation of our monetary unit close to the US dollar, and price of capex and feasibility, mainly for small and medium enterprises. For big plants, we do not see this as the main challenge. Market formation, there are many public and private calls and bids coming up, and frequently disclosed number of new contracts. Our market's currently on a demand superávit, so there's more people willing to buy than there is to supply. Market size on both sides in Brazil is huge, and the corporate willingness to make it happen. As challenges for market formation, I would like to highlight the new infrastructure close to the residue in the interior of the country, biofertilizer standardization, regulatory permissions, and more demonstrations units so people could see technology working. Direction of search, we see a dichotomy between federal regulation and state regulation. Federal regulation has been going faster than state. We have a tax reform coming up, which we expect to benefit from. And there's also large consumers positioned on demand for biogas and biogas products. Legitimation, I could only check opportunities since the diversity and size of engaged stakeholders is very relevant. Investment plans disclosed, number of new reports, and number and quality of conferences and sectoral events. Mobilizations of resources, we are getting better each day. There's lots of credit offered from banks and investors, a large number of business models that work abroad and work in Brazil as well, when we have been experiencing a stable inflation on 4% per year. As challenges, the credit cost in Brazil is still high. Our prime rate today is 11.25, expected to be 9% in the end of this year. And also the question of guarantee. So for biogas and biomethane, the energy produced is still not seen from the finance institution as a guarantee for the project, as it is already developed for other types of renewable energies in Brazil. Now the two last functions, they are disruption functions. So what has been going on in order to make the space for biogas larger? Control policies. We have Renova Bio, which is a carbon market for biofuels, Brazilian only. The GHG protocol, which are followed by big corporations, it's been working well and working in favor of biogas market, and the renewable energy tracking. As challenges, we see the compulsory carbon market, which is still not established, and it's a project, but still going on. And we have two public policies, one for municipal solid waste and one for wastewater treatment plants, which exist but are not applied. If these two policies were applied, we could see lots of more opportunities and demand for biogas projects. In the dominant support reduction, we have federal tax incentives and the natural gas public policy, which has already been applied and opened up new opportunities. And as challenges, I named here state tax incentives and also fossil fuels exploration incentives. In 2021, Brazil spent $23 billion, or 1.3% of our GDP, on tax incentives for fossil exploration. So this is a big example, but imagine this incentive for our renewable chain, the good it would bring. So I finished the technical part, highlighting we are indeed in a window of opportunity, as of the multi-level perspective says, and I brought here some news titles showing big stakeholders, big investments, closure plans, and also large mergers and acquisitions in the sector that show that it's heating up and it's expected to grow. Now, I'd like your attention to talk a bit about CIBiogás. We are a science and technology innovation institution, and our mission is to promote sustainable development of the biogas chain in Brazil. I invite you all to check it out and to participate in the 6th South Brazilian Biogas and Biomethane Forum. You can see the web link on the right upper corner of the slide. We also are operators and creators of the first business club dedicated to the biogas market, Biogas Club. And here I finish my presentation. On this slide, you can see my contact details, and I'll be happy to talk to you about how CIBiogás may help your venture in Brazil, and also details on Biogas Club. Thank you all for the attention.
Thanks for your presentation, Nicolas. Just a quick question following it. Some of the challenges seem quite similar to what other countries are experiencing. In your experience, is there anything you believe to be unique to the Brazilian context of the market?
Thank you for your question, Ryan. No, I would say that Brazil is experiencing the same paths that other developing countries are experiencing with the biogas market, and as well as developed countries had experienced before. What we see in Brazil that it's not a specific from our situation, but it's important to highlight, is we are having trouble to have direct subsidies and direct incentives due to balance sheet. And also we have this cultural legislation thing that we have the law, we have the public policy, but it's not applied. So this is some extra difficulties we have on developing the market.
Great, thank you. If there's any questions from the audience, we encourage you to type it into the chat. And if the presentations are finished, at the end of the webinar, if there's time, we will answer what we can. Our next presentation will be Galhardo from AB Energy. So if you would like to switch to you.
Yep, sure. Thank you, Ryan. I'll try to share my screen right here, just to make sure everything works. All right, just let me know if everything works, and I'll go forward with the presentation. Is it working? Everything okay?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. So, well, thank you.
Excuse me, Guilherme.
Yes.
Can you turn on your video, please?
Oh yeah, sure. That's right.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, great. So, first of all, I would like to thank Ryan for the introduction, and BiogasWorld for the invitation. It's really nice to be here and sharing this discussion with all these colleagues. My presentation, I tried to divide it between two parts. So the first one, really short, just a quick presentation about AB Energy, AB Group, for those who do not know us and do not know what we do. And then we go forward a little bit with the opportunities and challenges from this market here in Brazil. So going forward with the presentation, AB is an Italian group. We are working with biogas solutions since 1981. So over 40 years working with this type of technologies. And our idea is also to supply customized solutions, plug and play installations, so as easy as possible to the customer, and trying to implement turnkey systems, so turnkey solutions. As Nicolas said, it's very important here in Brazil and in the markets in general for you to be a supplier that could do a complete system, and that's what we're trying to do here, and that's what we've been doing for the past years. And also always supplying a really good equipment and really good project with high performance and availability for the installations. We have more than 1,200 employees around the world, which most of them are technicians and engineers dedicated for the development of the technologies, of the equipments we have, and also for the maintenance and operation of the plants we have installed. We are located and divided between 21 countries around the world. Here in Brazil, we are the hub, and we are the ones that operate all the Latin America market. Here in Brazil, we started working in 2015, and since then we've installed over 140 megawatts of equipments, running all of them with biogas. We have a really good structure now here in Brazil already. We are around 80 people working here in Brazil, which most of them are technicians and field technicians for the maintenance and operation of the plants we have installed. And just really going fast into our solutions, we have two types of solutions for the biogas market in general. The first one, which is the one we started, is the cogeneration using engines that runs with biogas. So in this solution, we go from 330 kilowatts up to 4.4 megawatt for a single module. And also, of course, we can configure and use the modules according to the needs of the customer. So as it is a very plug and play solution and a very simple solution, we can install it according to the needs of the project. And we can go and basically do it whatever you have a gas, so natural gas, biogas, landfill gas, and also some special gases. Here in Brazil, as I said, we already have a lot of experiences into using biogas, especially landfill gases. And in the past years, we used to say that we used to work with solutions, the energy generation using biogas, but now we say that we work with solutions that could have the utilization of biogas, because besides of the energy generation, we also have the upgrading systems. So basically, AB is a company that can support you in the complete project, even if you want to use the biogas for the energy generation or the biogas for the biomethane production. We are basically, and we like to say that we are this one-stop shop. So wherever you need using biogas, we can, in one way or another, supply and make a project for you. And besides the supply of the equipment, of course, there's a very important part, which is the operation of the systems. So just as an example, we have it worldwide, but here in Brazil, 100% of the project that we have installed, we have a full service agreement contracts with the customer, where all the spare parts and all the maintenances, all the services are included into this contract. We have the team available 24/7 to the customer. So whenever you need, we're there and we can support. And into this contract, we have one minimum of availability of the systems. So it's a availability warranty that we supply just to make sure to the customer that the engine or the upgrading system will run according to the needs of the project. So basically, this is just a short, very short introduction. And going into the challenges and opportunities, I think Nicolas explained it in a very good way. And we just highlighted some points here that we see. And well, this is mixed between energy generation and biomethane production as a general. In Brazil, when we talk about biomethane, this is a kind of a new thing right here. It's the projects are developing more and more in the past 2 years, I would say. But one big challenge for this market is the infrastructure for the transport. So you have the feedstock, you have everything, you have the technologies, but sometimes you are producing the biomethane, but you cannot transport it, or it's very expensive for you to transport the biomethane because you have to compress it or you have to liquefy it. If we take a look at the experiences we have in Europe, basically all the installations are very close, or they are just in the side of a gas network. So it's very easy for you to connect the biomethane and to transport it. We have not as good public policies and incentives. This is something we need to develop. And as Nicolas said, the ones we have, they are not applied. So this is a big challenge for us. Another thing, if we go specifically to energy generations projects using biogas, we have a very unfair competition with the other energy sources. So for example, the last energy generation, energy auction that we have with biogas, the biogas projects were compared, when we say about the prices for the energy, they were compared with coal projects. So, and they are completely different projects. And this is very unfair for you to develop new opportunities for biogas here. And on the other hand, when we think about the opportunities, we have a lot of feedstock from different sources. So feedstock is really not a big problem for us. We already studied all of this feedstock. We know how the biogas is from these different types of feedstock, and even better, we are still studying new feedstocks that could produce more biogas. So we have a really big window of opportunities when we talk about the feedstocks. We have good technologies already developed, even abroad and here in Brazil already running. So we showed just a couple of them, but we have a lot of other good technologies already implemented in the market, so we know they work. And of course, the one good thing that's the industry is trying to look for these days, just to meet their net zero programs, is the carbon credits. And the biogas projects, if you go for energy generation or biogas upgrading, they are really good carbon credits generated. So you can generate a lot of carbon credits with these projects, and this is really good for the development and the industry. And as the industry is looking for it, I guess this is a very good opportunity for the biogas market. And the last topic here, which is a challenge and opportunity that we included, is the beauty of the biogas project. So nowadays, the prices for energy here in Brazil, they are kind of low. And so which makes the visibility of the projects when we talk about energy generation really difficult to use the biogas. But on the other hand, the natural gas prices are high. So you can use the same biogas that you used on the energy generation, you can use it on the upgrading systems. So this is a very beautiful thing when we talk about biogas projects, because even if the market changes a little bit, you can just switch from one thing to the other and you can have still a very good project. And when we go to a little bit deeper into two specific markets, here we're talking about just the opportunities and challenges about the sugar and ethanol industry. So 97% of all the biogas production potential in Brazil is concentrated into this industry. So this is one that, as Nicolas said, we have a huge potential, and for sure, if we grow into this market, if the things start to happen into this specific market, we will have a lot of a huge window of opportunity here in Brazil. When we think about the area, 61% of the production of this potential production is located on the southeast area here in Brazil, basically here in São Paulo. But one of the problems is that not all of those plants are located close to the gas network. So this is one thing that makes it a little bit difficult and costly for the companies to do it. And one thing when we talk to the producers is that they have a kind of a fear related to the electrical cars increase. Now in Brazil, is still something new. It's still something that it's starting into the market here. But if the electrical cars increase, maybe the ethanol consumption will decrease. If the ethanol consumption decrease, of course, the ethanol production will also decrease. And also, if the production decrease, the vinhaça, which is the biggest and the most important feedstock for this market, will decrease accordingly. So this could bring some challenge and some difficulties for the project if one company invests a lot of money into one big biogas project, and then the consumption and the production of the ethanol and the vinhaça decreases. It can bring some bad results in the future. It's still not a challenge, but it's something that we need to look for the future, that this could become a challenge in the future for this market. And the landfill market. This is absolutely the market that nowadays produces the biggest amount of biogas in Brazil. As we saw in Nicolas' presentation, only 10% of the plants in numbers are landfill, but basically almost 80% of all the biogas production, the active biogas production in Brazil, it comes from the landfill gases. And even considering this number, only 59% of all the waste is sent to landfills in Brazil. So imagine all of this number if 100% of all the waste produced were directed to the landfills, and those policies and everything were really applied and activated. We would have way more biogas production here in Brazil and way more opportunities. So this is a sector that absolutely needs some other incentives and also initiatives and the policies that must be applied. Of course, now what we see on the biogas market in Brazil, we saw already a lot of development, a lot of growth into this market, but basically without any incentives. Everything that happened with the biogas market in Brazil happened just by the willpower of the producers and the investors and the people that wanted this market to go on and this market to happen. And we know that we had a lot of incentives for renewable energies, but basically just none of those incentives were directed to the biogas projects. Also, the potential here, when we talk about landfill, they are located more in the same region that the sugar and ethanol industry is. And one thing that is not clear, and it is a challenge right now and will continue to be a challenge to the future, is the specific regulation when we talk about the biomethane production from landfills. We know that the ANP, which is the agency that controls the quality and controls the biomethane production, this agency is making some pilot projects with some landfill projects where they are producing biomethane, and those projects just they concern the mix between the natural gas and those biomethanes produced from landfill to try to reach their standard that is needed that is required from ANP. So this regulation is still not clear when we talk about biomethane. If we go to energy generation, it's very good and it works already. Some things to be changed, but it works. But when we go to biomethane, it's absolutely something that we still need to work on, and it's still a challenge when we talk about biomethane projects from landfill gases. So, well, this was really a short presentation. We just wanted to highlight some things. And once again, thank you, everyone, and we'll be open for questions.
Thank you, Guilherme. We'll follow up with questions at the end of the webinar, and we'll move right along to Sean Casey with Bauer Compressors. Sean, I invite you to share your screen and start your presentation.
Okay. Morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Brian.
Sean,
Yeah.
you will need to click on reading view on your left side.
Meeting.
Yeah, reading view. One more.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, here we are.
Wonderful. You're good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you very much to Biogas World for this opportunity to present Bauer to everybody who's participating. Thank you very much, Nicolas, Guilherme, for your presentations. Very quick. Bauer Compressors is a German family-owned business based in Munich, Germany. In Munich, that's where we manufacture the actual compressor blocks themselves. We've been manufacturing high pressure, mid pressure, low pressure compressors for the last 80 years. We manufacture everything from breathing air compressors to nitrogen, to hydrogen, to CNG, to biogas, biomethane. Our very first experience in the biomethane, biogas world was in the early 1980s in Europe. And with that experience early on, we've been able to incorporate and accompany all of the changes, all of the evolution throughout the European market. And in the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years, we've seen a huge uptick in the North American market. And I report to Bauer North America, which is based in Norfolk, Virginia. And so we are very busy in our American office right now with a tremendous amount of projects throughout Canada and the United States at the present moment. And as I stated, all of our compressors are made in-house. So we're able to offer and provide a single source responsibility from a manufacturing perspective. So we actually manufacture the compressors and we package them according to the customer's requirements. And again, Americas is responsible for the Brazilian market. I'm the general manager for Bauer for Latin America. I'm based in Mexico right now. I was based here in Brazil for 13 years. But now I'm in Mexico, but I do spend quite a bit of time in Brazil at the present moment, trying to position ourselves for the opportunities. All of our manufacturing is completely vertically integrated. And as such, we're able to fully guarantee and supply and warrant the post-sales support and all the technical support, lifetime support required for the proper operational excellence of the equipment that we manufacture and supply to the customers. Within the biogas, biomethane world, we've got 3 primary spaces where we participate. The first is in the biofeed gas compressor side. This would be where we would feed the actual biogas to the purification processes. Primarily membrane and PSA is where we're very busy right now. And we can start as low as 40 cubic meters per hour up to 3,000 cubic meters per hour in flow. So at the present moment, in North America, we're seeing a huge amount of activity, primarily from a dairy farm, pig farms, and so forth, food recycling,
industrial food waste. We do participate in some of the gas that's generated at landfill when a customer wants to purify some of that for biomethane. A second big opportunity on the application side for us are on the RNG boosters, where we've got a specific solution line of compressors that can compress from 11 bar to 75 bar, from 10 to 350 horsepower. That's primarily for pipeline grid injection. And again, as the gentleman before me have mentioned, the offsetting a lot of the biomethane for us in Europe and in North America has been directly into the pipeline. And so that's been a tremendous advantage for the customers, for the viability analyses and so forth, to be able to fund the projects via the various credit programs and so forth that exist in those markets. And then on the last piece of where we participate mainly in biomethane would be on the actual CNG side, or on the high pressure compression side, where we can compress up to 350 bar. And in that space, that's where we would actually participate in the fueling of the transportation sector. On the farm, we can fuel the tractors, we can fuel the shovels, we can fuel irrigation pumps, everything that's required at the farm level. When we slowly move from the diesel to the actual biomethane transition at the actual biomethane source of generation, right? And of course, for tube trailer filling, where we're not close to a pipeline, let's say the farm has already consumed everything they require and they've got excess gas for sale or available to sell into market, we can fill the tube trailers and have that gas transported to the actual final customer destination or requirement. That's pretty much it on the Bauer side of the presentation. Now I'm going to move into some of the challenges and opportunities. And I think I'm going to echo a lot of what Nicolas and what Guilherme have said. I think the challenges to the overall market, the macro challenges, I think they're all pretty much very similar, as well as the opportunities. And then I'll discuss some of the challenges particular to Bauer compressors and our activities here in Brazil, as well as the opportunities. Again, some of the challenges is that the marketplace, we believe, requires some more financial incentives, further legislation required to foment fiscal incentives, where we can actually make biomethane scalable. And when you make it scalable, then of course the cost typically reduces, and the exposure and the availability of the gas just expands at scale. We think that the market requires additional lines of financing other than from the BNDES, the Brazilian National Social Economic Development Bank. I look at similar sectors in the Brazilian economy right now as other industries with a lot of PPPs, which are public-private partnerships, which tend to be fairly successful, which is a mix of private investment and public investment. I think if we could do more of that with regard to the biomethane market, that would help tremendously. We see a few technical challenges. One of the things that we encounter in a lot of our day-to-day activity is the lack of an independent mid-scale EPC experience in the engineering, procurement, and construction and of the upgrading facilities themselves. It's pretty much left to individual specialized companies, right? Who we're all trying to sell our equipment and so forth. But when you have an EPC, you tend to specialize more on the actual technology itself rather than the actual specific product. So as Brazil has a very rich experience with EPCs in the conventional oil and gas world, we think if we could see some more EPC development into the biomethane sector, that could potentially help. We see some supply chain challenges. One of the things that we're dealing with is the building the actual equivalency tables, because we're looking at doing some local packaging, some local manufacturing with a partner. Is the equivalency of the build, right? So we can offer a local content solution while maintaining the actual original design performance and of the specification. Logistical distances, as Guilherme laid out, the distances between the vast landmass between the biomass centers in the countryside, and then the actual consumers and in the more urbanized areas once the biomethane has been consumed in the countryside for the actual production itself. Again, some Bauer specific challenges for the market. We're in very high level conversation right now and discussion at the very final steps of the contractual, the finishing of our contract with a local partner who will more or less replicate what we currently do in Norfolk, Virginia, to be able to offer into the Brazilian market. So the idea is to meet those local content targets, be able to qualify for any of the BNDES low interest loans that are offered to projects that have a high level of local content. So we're a German company, we're very conservative, we're very cautious, and so we're taking it step by step to ensure that we're going to be offer that same quality to the local market. Somewhat on the opportunity side, we see some big opportunities for biomethane. I'm not sure if my information is the latest up to date. It's what I could find on the ANP website. Is that currently we believe there are 6 large plants in operation in Brazil, producing about 62 million cubic feet of gas annually, and that there are 11 large plants awaiting final approval from the ANP for implementation. We see immediate opportunity there for companies such as Bauer to participate for the at the 3 different points that I pointed out. One would be the feed gas, passing the gas off, the biogas itself off to the purification processes, whether that be membranes or whether that be PSA. And then of course we're looking at, there's a lot of talk, a lot of focus on the sugarcane and landfill wastewater markets. And we're actually looking at it from a different lens ourselves. A lot of the applications that the US has developed, new applications the last 4 years, were heavily geared towards dairy farms. And so I know Brazil is a very big dairy producer. And we're in the process right now of trying to understand the scale of the dairy production, so forth, whether they be cooperative based, but a lot of the European upgraders, that's the first thing that they ran after in North America were the dairy opportunities. So with those recent application successes, we're looking at that here right now in Brazil. So we see that as an opportunity for us. And again, a lot of that would be for the actual transition from diesel on the farm to the use of biomethane. As we know, John Deere, New Holland, they're starting to manufacture a lot of their equipment inside of Brazil, outside of Brazil, already ready to receive natural gas or biomethane, right? All the way to irrigation pumps. Some of the other application or the opportunities we see for Bauer, one is what is really important to us right now is to finalize our partnership with a local build company where we can start to offer our solutions locally. And again, the mid-size agro market is well suited for membrane and PSA purification, whereas a lot of the landfill are different types of technologies where Bauer itself wouldn't wouldn't necessarily participate in water wash and other types of applications or other types of technologies. And again, the biomethane opportunities, the transition from diesel to biomethane on the farm, I think is a very interesting opportunity for us as well. And that's it. In general, we're very positive on Brazil. We see a lot of positive opportunity for 2024 to 2030. We understand it's a new market for the biomethane side. And one big challenge, or the last challenge, I think, for us and everyone else is we have to be patient. Things take time. Things don't move very fast. So you have to have a persistence, perseverance, and patience, and investment, and maintain the course. And I think Brazil will be a very, very productive market for everyone who decides to participate and make the proper investments. With that, thank you very much. And I'll sign off.
Thanks for your presentation, Sean. I believe the webinar, yes, goes to 10:15. For those that were prepared for 10, we just ask you for a few more minutes while we wrap up our final presentation by Sérgio Cruz from Paques. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Sérgio.
Okay, hi guys. I'll promise to be quick. I think most of the information has been said already. And thank you, BiogasWorld, for the opportunity. I think it's really important to share our experiences here in Brazil. Let me share my screen with you guys. Please let me know if you can see it. Yeah, I believe you do. Good. First of all, a quick introduction on Paques. I don't want to spend too much on it. Yeah.
Sergio, I'm sorry. I'm with BiogasWorld. We see right now your whole presentation. If you can go to full screen mode. So it's either, I think, revisão, but most probably.
I've done that already.
Ryan, do you see full screen presentation?
No, it's the PowerPoint view. I know in the bottom right corner next to the size, you can switch it to presentation mode.
Let me try again. Maybe, let me see, maybe because I'm connected to a different screen. Let me give it a try again. Did that work now?
We do not see any shared screen. You need to try to, you need to disconnect your second screen and then press share screen.
Yeah, I just did that. Oh, okay, now share the screen, of course. There we go. Hold up. Now I think it's gonna work.
So now from here, you need to enter the full presentation mode.
Yeah. There you go. Did it work?
Yes, it works. Perfect. Thank you. Take it away.
All right. Well, thank God we have plenty of time, right? Okay, I'll be even quicker now. So my name is Sérgio Cruz. I'm the general manager for Paques here in Latin America. Quickly on Paques. Paques is a worldwide leader in anaerobic reactors for wastewater treatment. Our headquarters are in the Netherlands, and we have units besides the Netherlands, which attends Europe. We have Brazil, which takes care of Latin America. USA in Salem, New Hampshire, which takes care of USA and Canada. India, which takes care of India and Middle East. Kuala Lumpur, who does the Middle East, the Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific, and China, doing China. So we're all over the world, almost 500 people. We have done business in 60 countries, and we have over 3,000 references worldwide. And today we belong to the Skill and Water Group, which is the same group that owns Ovivo, which is a familiar name to you guys in the United States. I'm based here in Piracicaba, which is about an hour and a half from São Paulo, Brazil. So what do we do? PAC uses biotechnology to clean wastewater and biogas. We use, in all our technologies, we use bugs like anaerobic bugs, Anammox bugs, Theobacillus, and these bugs do the work for us. Our main business is anaerobic COD removal. We have over 1,500 anaerobic reactors worldwide, being about 300 of them here in Latin America. We're very big on biogas desulfurization as well, about 350 biogas desulfurization systems all over the world, maybe 12 or 15 in our region. Nitrogen and phosphorus removal, sulfate removal. We are in all sorts of different sectors, mainly, of course, food, dairy, beer and beverage, pulp and paper, chemicals, and so on. So that's what PAC does. Quickly on the two technologies that we use for biogas. First of all, of course, biogas generation, especially when we're talking about biogas from semi-solids or high solids concentrated effluents. We have the CBD, which is kind of a CSTR but with a lot of advantages. First of all, we're able to remove the solids that otherwise would accumulate inside the reactor. We have a very unique mixing system. It's actually a plug flow reactor, and we have a very unique system to avoid the formation of scum. And we have an external way of sending the biomass, the sludge, back into the reactor, so we can work with a higher upflow velocity and higher VLR. So this is our CBD reactor, which we use to generate the biogas. And then we have the PioPack, which is a technology to remove the H2S from the biogas. Basically, it's a scrubber. But besides the scrubber, we have a reactor where another bacteria takes of course, the H2S is removed from the gas in the scrubber and to the liquid phase. And then in the reactor, we take the sulfide into elemental sulfur. So you not only remove the H2S from your biogas, but you also generate a clean, pure sulfur, which can be used as a fertilizer, can be used back to manufacture sulfuric acid and stuff like that. So we like to use biotechnology, and we like to generate revenue for our customers. So most of our technologies do that. We generate biogas by cleaning the wastewater, and we generate sulfur by cleaning the biogas. But enough about us. Let me quickly show what we've done in Brazil. I'm going to show quickly 4 projects out of the 7 or 8 that we have. These two, first one on the left-hand side is a landfill. This is a PioPack to remove the H2S. So in this particular case, we have 7,200 cubic feet per minute at 1,000 ppm. We've been running this for about maybe 6 years now. The second one on the right-hand side is a distillery. And most of our projects are in the distilleries. I think you've learned already that the distilleries are the main source of biogas in Brazil. So this is a much bigger project. We're talking about almost 7,000 cubic feet per minute at a 20,000 ppm of H2S. We have these 2 other projects, also distilleries, 5,000 cubic feet per minute and 3,000 cubic feet per minute, 23,000 ppm and 12,000 ppm. So, the biogas from distilleries, since there's a lot of sulfate in the process of sugar manufacturing, the ppm is always high. It's always above 10,000 ppm, 15, mostly around 20,000 ppm. So we've been around for 12 years here in Brazil. We have many projects in wastewater treatment, and in the last 4 years, there's a boom of biogas. We have, as mentioned, we have maybe 7 or 8 big projects. We have tens, maybe hundreds of very small projects. We're present on 6 or 7 of these big projects, and we see the business grow as we speak. This is my summary about the market. And here we start talking about opportunities and challenges as well. So as you see, the potential in Brazil is about I can see the top of my screen, but I think it's 1.6 trillion cubic feet per year. That is about twice the potential at the USA. I did some number cranking. I've seen that it's about 800 billion in the USA for biogas, about 500 billion for biomethane. So that's where I did my math. So the potential here is about twice the potential you see in the US, just to compare. But about half of this comes from ethanol, from sugarcane. So using vinaça, which is a byproduct of the distillation process, to generate biogas. There's also the use of filter cake, which is a solid leftover, to use to generate biogas. Some ethanol distilleries are doing that, some are not, but that's a big sector. There's also a big opportunity from animal protein. Agriculture and sanitation is much smaller. And here's a few of the main key points I want to bring about the market. First of all, differently from the US, most projects are built and ran by the owner, and there are fewer intermediate partners in between. I had the opportunity to work in the US for about 3 years, and I see that there's a lot of intermediate. You have the farm, you have the operator, you have the engineering firm, you have the contractor, you have the owner. So a lot of people in between the technology provider and the end owner. In Brazil, usually it's very direct. The engineering is done by the whoever is selling the plant, and the owner either has their own engineering team that will, take care of it, or will just hire an engineering firm to do the engineering, but much less intermediates. Second, we have 360 ethanol distilleries. We see they're recovering financially from old crises. 90 of them, about 1/4 of them, are still in Chapter 11. So that is an issue with the capacity to invest. Money is disputed inside an ethanol distillery like hell. I mean, they can use money, and they need the money for the crops. They need the money to grow production. So to spend money on a biogas plant is something that sometimes you have the hard time with, especially if you're, coming out of Chapter 11. So this is actually an opportunity for investors, and we see a few business models like that, where investment companies, they have the money, they do the investment, they remunerate the ethanol mill by whatever means they agree, like a certain cash per cubic meter of vinaça, or they share the profits of the biomethane. So this is a nice opportunity. Another important point is that seasonality. Distilleries work 8 out of the 12 months of the year, so you're generating biogas only 8 out of the 12 months. You can extend that a bit by generating by stocking your filter cake the other 4 months of the year, but that's a little complicated logistics wise. So this is a challenge, because if you're going to find a customer to buy your biogas or your biomethane, and you tell them that you can only sell for 8 out of the 12 months of the year, you may have an issue there. So that's something that is still being a problem for most of the investors. Something that may surprise you guys in the USA is that There's very, very little cattle manure digestion. You know, the dairies, as you guys call the dairies, are very remote. The farming model here is different. I mean, there are farms here, they're the size of cities, and they're really spread out. It's not concentrated, intensive farming as in the United States, and the culture is not there. I see this as a huge opportunity. I think this is really gonna spark at some point, but currently it's close to zero. Chicken and pig, there's quite a lot of chicken and biogas and biomethane generated at chicken and pig farms, but they're all small projects. Most of the chicken and pig farms in Brazil are small. Sometimes they cluster together and it makes it a little more possible, but still, this is not where the big numbers will be. Another point is very little sludge digestion. We see our municipal wastewater treatment plants, and most of them are state-owned, which brings us another issue. I mean, dealing with state-owned companies is always complicated, but most of them have aerobic process, so not a whole lot of working USB reactors that could generate biogas, and even sludge, you know, the activated sludge digestion from aerobic plants is not very common. We see a movement there, but still very, very small, as you can see from the numbers. And last but not least, landfills are an opportunity. They're growing, but you got to remember that Brazil is a country that is still under development. We still have a lot of open air dumps in Brazil, so the landfills are replacing them slowly. So we see a growing opportunity there, but nothing as mature as in the US yet. My final slide, what are the other, I mean, besides of the market threats, challenges and opportunities, what else do we see? Some of them have been mentioned already. Import duties of Brazil are at least 14%, and the logistics costs are high. So if you're thinking about selling in Brazil, make sure you find a partner and you have at least part of your production here. Sean already mentioned that you got to find someone to connect with, or you need to produce locally. Paques is only successful in Brazil because we have a full production unit here, 80 people, full engineering, production, manufacturing, installation. It's going to be very hard to fight importing things into Brazil. The second issue, which is a big challenge, is the cost of energy in Brazil is very low. 74% of our electricity is generated hydroelectrically, as mentioned, I believe, by Nicolas. So you need to be very effective to beat that. Also, as being mentioned, the subsidies and the legislation is not yet fully developed. There are some people doing some great work on that. CIBiogás is one of them. Biogas is a organization that's also working on that. So that's on the move, but still very little there. So there's nothing that helps us make the biogas cheaper. Another big issue is the natural gas grid. It's very, very small, very concentrated in the São Paulo state. So that makes it difficult for you to inject to the grid. All the experiences we've had and all the calculations we've made show that stopping at generating the electricity from biogas has a very difficult payback. The best way to go is to take it all the way to biomethane and inject it into the grid, or to find a direct consumer, but you need a grid for that. And the grid is concentrated in a region of, I would say, less than 5% of our territory. So if you're far away from that, you have to truck your gas, which is a little crazy. Fourth, even the electricity distribution grid, of course, it's more spread out, but it's not everywhere, and it's quite unstable. We see a lot of wind power and a lot of solar power projects in Brazil that are not flying because the grid is not there. So that's something to be careful with. Last but not least, if you're selling to state-owned facilities like municipal wastewater treatment plants, you have a maintenance and operation problems, and next thing you know, your plant is not running anymore because it's not being operated properly. To finalize some opportunities, Brazil is green. I mean, we've been driving cars fueled by ethanol since the 70s. We have a huge hydroelectric contribution to our matrix. We're very, very agricultural still, and it's a very green country. So green initiatives are very popular in Brazil. Second, we're not self-sufficient on natural gas. We have huge natural gas imports. So to generate biomethane, to replace natural gas is something that will always be growing because there's a lot of room to grow. We just need the legislation. We just need the natural gas distributors to have incentives to buy biomethane, and that's starting to happen. Diversity of feedstock, that's a clear one that's been mentioned already. Lack of local technologies, I mean, I see as an opportunity because I believe a lot of people watching this are from technology providers. So if you do biogas upgrading, or if you do CSTRs, there are very few local people here doing that. So if you have a good technology, if you find a way of producing in Brazil, totally or partially, there is an opportunity here. We have, of course, we're doing the H2S removal. We're very good at that, but usually people have to import upgrading technologies. CSTRs are very poorly done. So there's an opportunity there for technology providers. And two markets that are still untapped. Not that's going to be easy to untap them, but there's a lot of opportunities. Again, the manure, the dairies, there's very little done there, and the activated sludge, especially with the municipal wastewater treatment plants. There's a big law coming up, called the sanitation law, which will privatize the sanitation sector in Brazil. So we see in the future private companies running the wastewater treatment plants, and with that, it's going to be much easier to sell to them. So right now, I mean, you can count on your both hands the number of activated sludge reactors in Brazil. And finally, you saw my number of 1.7 trillion cubic feet per year, and you saw Nicolas' number that today there is a total of 17 billion being generated. So that means that so far we only generate 1% of our potential, and that there's 99% to explore. So that's how I want to close, with a positive note. If you ever need us, I'm here in Latin America, and I have my colleague Timur Dunaev with an amazing team in the US doing a lot of interesting projects as well. They have done a lot of dairy projects. The sulfurization technology is all over the place in the US. So if you ever need anything in North America, talk to Timur. If you ever need anything in Brazil, talk to me. Thank you all very much for the opportunity.
Thanks very much for your presentation, Sergio, and for the presentations of all of our speakers today. Unfortunately, we can't get to all of the questions that were put in the chat, but we will get them uploaded onto the biogas community and ask that the appropriate parties answer the questions and address anything that people are asking. The recording of the webinar will be sent to, and the presentations will be sent to attendees today. Quickly, before we cut off, if I could just quickly run through each of the panelists, and in a few words, what do you think, where do you see the Brazilian market going in the next 3 to 5 years? So I'll first turn it over to Nicolas for that, and we'll go through the order of presenters.
Thank you, Ryan. In my opinion, we will see the Brazilian biogas market on electrical energy going to either large-scale plants on free market commercial contracts or power purchase agreements, and for auto consumption in net metering for residues producers. On biomethane, I see medium and more frequent accelerated projects on medium and large scale plants, mainly on the industry sector, highlighting sugarcane and food and beverage sector. Thank you.
And Guilherme?
Yep. Okay, so I totally agree with Nicolas, even though it's kind of difficult to understand a little bit the Brazilian market for the upcoming years. So 2 years ago, for example, we were talking basically only about energy generation using biogas, but then all of a sudden everything changed, and now we are talking more and more about biomethane production. So it's very difficult to say how the market will be in the next 2 or 3 years. If we get into a dry season, for example, without any rain in Brazil, maybe the electricity prices will go high again, and then the projects for the energy generation will be another time feasible. But now, as we see it right now, I totally agree with Nicolas. Maybe some projects for energy generation could be like for auto consumption for those biomethane productions. So we are studying with some customers some projects where they are using part of the biogas produced for the auto consumption of the biomethane plant that they are installing. Of course, it's just a part of the biogas. Most of the biogas is being directed to the biomethane production. And I guess the biomethane plants, I would say the medium and big sizes plants will be the ones that we'll see in the picture in the future, both for sugar and ethanol industry, and I also believe something will appear for new landfill opportunities.
Great, thank you. Sean?
Okay, from our perspective, we're focusing in a different area. We're going to focus more into the countryside. We believe that the agro side of the business, whether that be the dairy or primarily dairy, has a large potential in Brazil. That's where we're going to focus a lot of our energy. We do believe it's very difficult to get diesel and into the countryside, into these remote dairies that are spread out. And it really doesn't make a lot of sense to consume all this diesel that's trucked in when they can produce their own biomethane and actually become self-sustainable in their large scale, medium scale operations, and then offload the rest of the gas to the market. So that's primarily where we're going to focus, and we're very positive on that particular sector of the market. Thank you.
Okay, and then quickly before jumping over to Sérgio, I see Nicolas, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. I'd like to add something to my answer. We at CIBiogás, we are doing lots of research and development projects with governments from abroad, and also national investments, national funds for innovation. And there's something that has caught my attention, has caught our attention in the past 2 years, which are renewable hydrocarbons, CO2 monetization from the off gas of biomethane purification, and also the whole chain of syngas, for an example, methanol, SAF, and renewable hydrogen. Today, this is the frontier of technology that we are experiencing in Brazil, and we do expect in the next few years to have already feasible projects for these outputs. I'd like to add that. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicolas. And then finally, Sérgio.
Yeah, I think what I believe is going to change is that maybe the projects are going to become more and smaller. We still, as the legislation will probably change, as subsidies will happen, as it becomes more feasible to put together a plant like that, I believe the plants are going to become smaller. We're going to diversify. We're going to get out of only the ethanol sector. I think there are a lot of food and beverage opportunities. I see the smaller projects from manure digestion, and with the sanitation law at some point to start to see activated sludge digestion in the municipal wastewater treatment plant. So that's what I see. And even the projects from ethanol, they're probably going to be smaller because the first projects we've seen, of course, there's a lot of lessons learned, and we already see that they're making some decisions in a different way. And so I think these projects are not going to be so big, but they're going to be more frequent in other areas as well.
Great. I'd like to thank all of our panelists again for their time and apologize for going a bit over time today. I hope everybody has an excellent day, and we're very excited to see the continuation and growth of this exciting market. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.